Hello, socialites, and welcome to the new and improved social studies podcast with me and Gaspare Randazzo, permanent co-host forevermore.
Woo.
Okay, let me ask you. I was thinking about this. We got to come up with a new way to start it because usually I go, hello, socialites, and welcome to the Social Studies Podcast, the podcast where we study being social by being social, which we still could do, but we got to, you got to be in the intro too.
Like a hype man. I'll be like Flavor Flav. Like, you still say it, but I'm like, yeah.
Well, let's try not to get canceled on our first podcast.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I was thinking we got to figure out something where I'm like, I'm Joe and I'm Gaspar.
And here we are to deliver the Social Studies Podcast where we study being social and social stuff.
I don't know if this is going to work.
We got to figure all that.
we do have to figure it out.
I need more of a script in front of me instead of just words.
Well, we're here in Cleveland. We're hot in Cleveland, one might say. And you're looking at the camera too much. Do you think he's looking at the camera too? You don't know what to do.
I didn't know where to look, and I didn't realize when we were setting all this up that I am in a very awkward position to look at you.
You are in an awkward
So
position.
I will have neck problems for the next
You just got to do what you got to do.
2 days.
We're here in Cleveland.
So
we finished our first show. It was great.
Great. Really great.
Good crowds. Good
Cleveland, Drew Carey was right. Cleveland rocks.
Drew Carey was there.
Okay.
We're just going to let the people think it.
Maybe he was.
My favorite part of the show yesterday was when I was ragging out that Disney adult.
And not only, so he was so Disney adults, you've talked about Disney adults on this show, right? So like my brother-in-law's a Disney adult. Like I know Disney adults, the ones who like get engaged at Disney World, the ones who tattoo Mickey Mouse on themselves, like Blake, the videographer. And there was a guy there who was a full-on Disney adult.
And I just let him have it. I made him tie my shoes.
Not just once. Made him tie his shoes like 3 times.
I did. Here's the thing, though. Disney adults, there's levels. There's I'm into it. Well, first of all, there's like, as an adult, I'll consume Disney. There's as an adult, I'll go to Disney. And I'm not talking about with your kids. If you have kids, you have an out. Then there's, as an adult, I will get engaged, have a bachelor or bachelorette party, or do some sort of like adult outing at Disney World.
Like,
and
I don't know how bachelorette, like I don't want Buzz Lightyear dancing on me.
When I see group photos of adults with the ears on at Disney World, I'm like, listen, it is a small world after all. And you chose to go to Disney World. You could have used the same amount of money and went to Ibiza and been like an adult.
But so here's the thing that I'm confused about with Disney adults is like when you see, okay, so me and you go to Disney World.
We got to call Mike and get it. He'll hate us.
Me and you go to Disney as 2 adults. And we go and like Woody's coming down the row. Mm-hmm. Like, are we screaming like, Woody?
They are.
Woody, look at me, Woody. I'm here. It's me, Gaspar and Joe. Like, are we yelling that? Or are we just like, yo, what's up, Woody? And we just head nod him. Because like he probably won't see the head nod. So you got to get his attention.
I think that one Disney adult that you and I both are familiar with from the internet, they would do that. They would be like, Woody, I want to touch your balls, like that.
I don't know. I just don't know how Disney adulting works.
Okay.
Like I'm not. So I never even saw Disney
Mike's number?
movies. Of course.
Let's call him.
Okay.
Let's put him on the podcast and call him. We just legally, I think we have to tell him like right away you're on the podcast.
Okay.
Call him, put him on speaker, and put it up to your.
So this is my brother-in-law. He is a big Disney adult.
But here's the thing: when I met him, he pretended like he wasn't. He blamed it all on his husband.
That is so weird. I was just about to FaceTime you.
Well, Mike, listen. You are on the podcast live right now. So legally, we had to tell you that you're on the podcast.
Oh my God.
You might know why you're on the podcast, but something came up, and we
gotta hold the speaker to the microphone. Gaspar, like this.
Where's the speaker?
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Joe.
How are you?
I'm just great. How are you?
Great to see you again. So we're on the topic of Disney adults.
Oh my God. Okay.
We just wanted.
That or Gaspar asking about financial advice, and I figured it wasn't going to be that boring about financial advice.
You were asking Mike about financial
Mike's
advice?
a financial advisor.
No, I know he's a financial advisor.
So
he should probably be mine, honestly.
I ask him questions about where I should put my money because I don't really do money.
Mike, real talk, will you be my financial advisor?
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll talk about this off the air.
We'll talk on the side.
Okay, so there's levels of Disney adult, right? There's like I go to Disney. There's I go to Disney as an adult without kids, which we know that you probably do. And then there's I go to Disney to do adult things that shouldn't be done at Disney, but I do it anyway. And we want to know two things. One, where are you on that spectrum? And two, what would you do like if you're like standing on the sidelines at the parade and like Woody walks down the street? Like what's your reaction?
He knows that these questions. He knows that these questions are coming directly from me.
2 out of 3 on the spectrum because
No.
we did go to Disney without kids, but now I have a kid, so perfect excuse.
They went 9 times without kids, for the record.
True. But I also told both of you that I fell into the Disney dad thing.
Liar! You're trying to blame this on your husband, and it's not
I'm
fact.
not blaming it on him. I haven't gone to Disney World before I met him for maybe like 10 years. True story.
So you were normal for a little while.
Pick out Woody from Buzz.
You were on your way.
You could pick out Woody
You
from
were
Buzz.
living a healthy life, and then you met your husband, and you reverted back into
That's
Disney.
it. Of course.
God, he's gonna hate us when he listens to the podcast. We're not gonna be allowed to hang out with Mike anymore.
So, all right, Mike. When, in all seriousness, when you and Alex would be alone in Disney without the baby, when you saw Woody, what did you do?
Obviously took a picture with him. No. I mean, when do you two get to see Woody?
You know he's not real.
Buzz is hotter, for the record.
No, actually, ironically, you're saying Woody because every time I saw Woody, I would FaceTime you so I could show your son.
All right, well, that was very nice of you.
And you could vouch for that.
I agree.
No, don't give him an out. He's trying to act like that's why he did it. Like
You
no,
didn't
you
go
were
to Disney
excited.
World for my 3-year-old
You popped
son.
a little chub. You were excited. Woody was coming down the street, and you thought you were gonna play a little game of smash or pass.
Right, so I blamed my nephew.
All right, and now here's the other question. It's would you rather, Woody or Buzz?
Woody, all the way.
Really?
Are you holding the microphone to this? It is? Okay.
No.
Wait, you charge your phone from the top?
No, that's the bottom.
Armor to get through Buzz to get there.
This is where the sound is coming, Gaspare.
Hold on. Talk again, Mike.
Can you hear me?
Talk again? It's right here.
I said Woody.
Yeah. Okay, so
Is
I
it?
said there's too much armor to get through to Buzz.
Okay, let me ask you another one. Pooh or Tigger?
Pooh is which one? Pooh's
Well,
the
we're
one
gay.
With
We're used to Pooh, so we might say
Oh,
Tigger.
please, Gaspar,
Is
you
Pooh
know
the
who
blue
it
one?
is.
Who's depressed?
Let's edit that out. Let's edit that out.
What?
Let's edit it out, what I just said. Anyway,
Is Pooh the depressed one?
no, Pooh is the bear.
Oh, Winnie the Pooh. I didn't watch Disney movies. Mike, you can vouch for this. Did I watch Disney movies as a kid?
No, because you lie about what you watch and don't watch.
Oh,
Ooh,
because-
he got your ass.
because-
he got
All right,
your ass.
we gotta go, Mike. All right, so there's a show called Big Brother. You ever heard of it?
Was Mike on it?
No.
But what's his name was? Your neighbor.
My na-
I auditioned for it multiple times, though.
yeah. So they Big Brother. All right, Mike, we're gonna let you go because this is just weird.
Bye, Mike. We'll call you after.
See you later, Mike. Bye. So
you
the
live-
show Big Brother. The show Big Brother, I don't watch it. My wife watched it every season for like 20 straight
still
years.
does.
She still does. But I didn't watch it, but it would always be on in the background. So I would like walk by and like casually glance at it. And then like we're off over the summer. It's a summer show. So I was like, you know what? Let me give it a try. So I started like watching clips of it and it was okay. Then I started watching it, but I never wanted to admit that I watched it because I would always make fun of my wife and her brother for watching it. So I would always pretend I didn't watch it. I'd have to watch it by myself.
But who is the guy from Big Brother that lives down the street from you?
Oh my God. He was on Broadway.
Is it? It's not.
If
Mike.
you said, oh my God, I know his name. Not Vinny.
He's like short.
Yeah,
And like he's like a super New Yorker.
he was from, oh my God, I know his name.
We
Adam.
gotta call Mike again.
We'll call my wife, put her on the podcast.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna call her.
All
Will
right.
she answer? Or is she busy?
She'll answer, but you'll hear kids crying.
Hey Siri, call Melissa Randazzo.
So if you, so he was on, he's on my block. He lives a few blocks away from me. Really nice guy. I can't think of his name. He was on Broadway. He was in the Newsies. And
Yeah, I can't remember his name either.
Vinny?
No, it's not Vinny. The fans right now are watching and they're screaming because they like know the answer.
He was on.
Oh,
I know, I got it. Hello?
Melissa, you're on the podcast right now.
Oh, Lord.
Um, what's the name of that? What's the name of that Big Brother guy who lives down the street from you guys?
Tommy Bracco.
Oh, Tommy Bracco.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Who's taller, Tommy or Gaspar?
Oh, God.
No, don't. Oh, God. Are you kidding me? I'm way taller.
A little taller. Not way taller. A
I'm-
little taller.
A little taller. She threw you under the bus. Okay, that's all we needed. We're talking shit about Big Brother, and welcome to the podcast.
Do I watch Big Brother, babe?
Gaspar pretends he doesn't like it, and then when I get into it, then he gets into it and asks me questions. Although the new season started last week, and I haven't had time to watch it yet.
That is funny. Well, you know who did watch it? The person who was just on the podcast before you. We just called Mike Sugarman.
Oh my God.
Well, we had a Disney adult segment for him.
We're up to no good here in Cleveland. All right, Melissa, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye. Tommy Bracco.
Was on Broadway. He was in the Newsies. He's been on a few seasons of Big Brother. If you watch Big Brother, he lives a few blocks away from me.
Is
He's
he-
a super nice guy.
He is.
Super down to earth.
Now, would you ever do Big Brother?
It's so funny. All right, so I'm not gonna lie. I did audition one year. Did you ever audition?
Not Big Brother. I did audition for Survivor, though.
Okay, I would like Survivor more because I like to eat weird things. Oh wait, I'm thinking of Fear Factor. Which one's Survivor? Where they live on the hill in the,
The
island?
Hill. They live on the hill. Yeah, they live on a hill.
I don't watch
in the middle of Ohio. That's Survivor. That would be a great episode.
or a depressing one. There's a reason they burnt this whole city.
Survivor.
So I auditioned for Big Brother, but then when it came down to it, I was like, would I even want to be on this? Because number one, the thought of being in a house all day, 24/7, freaks me out. Like, you can't leave, you can't go outside, can't look at your phone. Then also I have kids. Had I not had kids and I just got to get away from my wife for 3 months, I would have did it. But with the kids not
this podcast and you being on it is gonna get us in trouble.
No, I don't mean that in a bad way. It's I think that time is good. What is that? Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Oh, a little spin on it.
Yeah. So the thought of being away from my kids and not knowing ever what's going on, that freaked me out. Because what if my kids wake up and they're like, I want to see daddy, I miss him, and then they can't. That makes me sad.
They can see daddy every Sunday on CBS.
Yeah. Good plug for CBS.
I'm just saying.
Hey, CBS, call us. So that kind of makes me sad. I want to be able to talk to them and I would miss them. Even being here this morning, my son wakes me up and he calls me at 6 a.m. on FaceTime and he's like, Daddy, you're coming home today, right? You're done telling jokes with your friend on the plane? And I'm like, no, baby, I'll be home in 2 more days. He's like, 2? So now imagine being there for 90 days because I would win it if I was on Big Brother. So I'd have to be there the whole time.
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous about when I become a papa because I'm going to have to leave them.
Yeah, it's hard.
How many months of paternity leave do you get? Do you get it?
When you say months, you mean days?
Shut up. They don't give you
You
paternity
get 3 days.
leave?
3 days.
Paternity.
3 days.
How much would a woman be able to take?
My wife got 8 weeks.
8 weeks.
8 weeks for a C-section, 6 weeks if you give natural birth.
So, and a husband can't take any?
Nope.
In New York?
In New York.
I'm sure it's different in other states.
Yeah.
Now, what if they're both men? We're both men.
Yeah, but neither of you would be giving birth.
Well, who's going to take care of the baby?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I guess.
So maternity leave is based on how much time it takes you to heal versus
Yes.
how much time
They
the
don't
baby
care about
needs
the
you.
baby being taken care of. It's all about the healing process.
I hate this.
Wait, so New York made a new rule though last year, so I am lying. I think they said you could have either paternity or maternity.
Yeah.
But because we were both in the same
You can't
school
both take
system,
it.
we both can't take it. So, but I don't know. I don't know how it works.
So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take 6 months off and only do, because the cool thing about my career is I can still do the podcast, still make content, do ads and
Still
stuff
make
like
money.
that, and still make money, but stay home for 6 months. So I'm still working, but
6
not.
months is a long time. 6 months is longer than you think.
6 months is probably too long.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. And listen,
But Gaspar,
this is
it's different. I'm not just going to work and coming back at night. I'd be
No, you'd
leaving
be
for
gone,
a full weekend.
Yeah. This is the truth. you're better off waiting to take the time. Wait till they're a little older because like, and those of you listening, if you have kids, the beginning is boring. So like
What is it boring?
the first few months of a baby are boring. Well, they're scary as hell because like you have no idea what to do. They cry. You're like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Why are they crying? And that's your whole life. And then you're just nervous. They cough. They get rashes. Kids just randomly sprout rashes like little leeches. You know, I don't know if leeches get rashes, but they get rashes. And then like everything makes you nervous. You call the doctor all the time. So the beginning phases kind of suck. Then like when they get like 6 months, they start becoming more fun. They start crawling. That's when you're like really needed. The beginning, all you do is keep them alive. And kids sleep most of the day.
Everything that you're saying right now is true with our puppy.
Oh,
I swear to God, Gaspar, covered in rashes.
okay.
Constantly have to be with them. At first, it wasn't a little bit boring at first. It was so hard up front. Like, have you ever had a puppy?
Yeah. Well, I never told you the story.
Oh, shit. Did you have like a litter of puppies?
All right, we'll save that. Let's finish yours, then I'll tell you the puppy.
Our dog, Gaspar, is riddled with disease. It's because we got a purebred dog. So first of all, fucking sue me, everybody. You walk down the street with a purebred golden retriever in Seattle and the whole city wants to kill you. It's
Why? Because they're all about adopting and all that?
adopt, don't
Yeah.
shop. And I'm over here like, little does the general public know I was attacked by a dog that we adopted. So I'm not doing that again. Plus, we want Mac to be a therapy dog for like kids who are testifying in court and stuff. Long story. He's going through the
Interesting.
process. He's going through the
Oh,
process.
it's really cool.
So
And then are you giving them away?
no, we're gonna take him to like be with the kids.
That's interesting.
He
I
just
didn't
has
even
to
know
get
that
the
was a thing.
certifications, right? So he's in the beginning
He has to
steps.
take a test?
He hasn't taken the test yet, but he has gone through the training. He's not even 9 months old. He's not even a year old. He's got to tighten it up.
It's a baby.
He's got the meat. He just needs to get better at it.
Okay, that's cool.
So we had some issues with the dog in the beginning, right? Like he was shitting his pants all the time. He's got allergies like crazy to literally every food you can think of. He's covered in these fucking rashes that are still because of the allergies. So we're trying to figure that out still.
Oh, this actually does sound like a baby so far.
Listen to this. So there's this little like Facebook group with all the dogs from the litter, right? And one of the guys in the Facebook group was like, hey, our dog developed this limp. Our vet's very concerned that they have this like developmental disorder. And does anyone else have it? And a couple other people were like, we do. Our vet's concerned too. We're like, we don't have it, right? Our vet lives around us and our dog walker is friends with our vet. Why? Because they're all comedians. Our vet.
Oh, the dog walker. Wait, the vet's a comedian
Our
too?
our dog babysitter is one of my comedy friends. Our other dog babysitter and dog walker is another one of my comedy friends. And our vet is her boyfriend is another one of my comedy friends. So like everything around Mac, like they're all comedians. So if you hear
Just dogs,
jokes
just-
about dogs in Seattle, it's probably about my dog.
That's good.
So
Max got another career.
right, seriously. So anyway, our dog walker is friends with our vet. So he went while he was walking past our vet and he was like, he didn't know anything about the limp. And he said, do you think he's got a little bit of a limp? And she's like, yep, I'm going to have to talk about Joe about that. So like she noticed it too. And now I'm like, fuck.
So now your dog has a limp?
Well, we don't know. He's got this little kind of hobble a little bit. So we're going to the vet on Tuesday to figure out what the hell that's all about. It's a never ending.
But so these are all genetic things, obviously,
We
because they're all
think.
from the same litter.
We don't know. Yeah. So I don't know. I think
That's
we got
sad. Gypped.
a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
They so the difference is though, so like if you have a dog, so like this is an argument people always say to me. They always say like, oh well, I have a puppy, so it's the same as kids. It's not the same as kids because if you want to go to the movies with Morgan tomorrow, you could be like, bye Mac, we're going to the movies. If I do that with my kids, I go to jail. You know? If you want to go into the deli real quick or a bodega, whatever, you want to run in, you could tie Mac to a fire hydrant.
I wouldn't.
Well, all right, you wouldn't, but people do that. I
Well,
tie
people
Lucy.
do that with their babies too.
Yeah.
They drop them off at fire stations. So just so you know.
Yeah, but there's no return, you know? And so, you know, it's very different. Like, you can do things like, but I will say that when it's raining and stuff, I never have to take my kids outside. When it's raining, you have to take the dog outside.
He doesn't like it. Mac hates rain.
Oh, well, he's spoiled. That's what happens when you buy a purebred. So, all right. So I had a dog growing up. I had a few dogs growing up.
Oh shit.
So, but one of my dogs' name was Rocky, right? So we bought him from the pound, $65. He was a dachshund mutt mix. Okay, great dog, except he had epileptic seizures.
Oh shit.
And he would get really excited when we would come home, and his arms, he would have a seizure, drop to the ground, and piss himself every time. So that was annoying.
Oh, I'm laughing at him.
No, it's okay. He's dead now. Thanks. So he would get really excited and piss himself. So his life sucked, kind of, but we treated him really well. We loved him. This is a sad story, though. My grandma's cooking pasta, right? And she's got the bowl, the pot of pasta, and she was turning, and he ran into her legs, and she dropped the pot of boiling hot water
On Rocky?
on Rocky, and it burnt half his body. So he looked. So this is not funny. This part's sad.
This is terrible.
So where it gets worse. So then
Why are you
half
telling
his
me this?
body's burnt, right? And then what happened was, because he was like in the hospital and they had to wrap him up and everything, he didn't use his leg a lot where it was burnt. So his leg like retracted up. So he would walk like on 3 legs. And then he had the lampshade on his head so he wouldn't lick the wounds. So he kind of looked like Two-Face. Like from one side you'd be like, what a cute dog, and then he'd turn and you're like, oh, and people would do that. So then we had, because we were in Brooklyn, we had a lot of cats that lived in our yard that were strays. They fought Rocky, and one of them scratched out his eye. So on the side that was all burnt, his eye got scratched out. So we had like a scar eye, a burnt body, and a hobble leg. He killed that cat, by the way. He did. It was. I mean, I'm not proud of that. They fought. That's the animal kingdom. I don't want this to get dark. I think it's already there.
Too late.
But yeah. And then Rocky, eventually he grew up, and his scars never healed, so his body was just all scarred, skin on one side, and then his other side was adorable.
I love Rocky.
He was a really.
You're gonna ask
cute
your mom
dog.
to pull up pictures.
Yeah, she has him.
Good.
I told you about the snakes, right? When I learned about the circle of life. So we used to have.
Oh,
all right,
Gaspare,
you know what?
we're gonna
get PETA.
I was gonna
involved.
say they're gonna like come
Never
after
mind.
us.
I had a snake when I was growing up. It was cool.
Couple things. I do have a teacher story that I want to share. You recently took your kids to the zoo,
I did.
and it reminded me of when I took my kids to the zoo. I went to the Detroit Zoo. Actually 2 things. One, I used to be the supervisor of kindergarten summer camp at the Detroit Zoo,
Very nice.
and part of that is the kindergartners were studying reptiles the entire week, and then I planned for them to do a behind-the-scenes tour of the reptile house. And one of the reptile zookeepers who took them backstage or whatever, he went backstage, and then like I was in front of the reptile exhibit, and I'm standing there, and all of a sudden there's this as big as this room, okay, the Burmese python exhibit. And all of a sudden in the back of the Burmese python exhibit, I saw this little door open up, and then I saw the kindergartners walking in one by one, and he like let them inside, and then the snake was getting curious, like, it's like playing charades with the guy. I'm like, get them out of here! Literally, he got them out in time. Thank
Wait,
God.
did he put them in there?
Yes.
Huh.
Yes, so they could like see the python. I'm over here like that python almost looked like anal beads for an elephant. Like that's crazy. So eventually they got him out, and I'm scarred for life because of that. But I also, when I was a teacher, I took my my 4th graders, I took them to the zoo. We went to the Detroit Zoo, and we went to the kangaroo exhibit, which the kangaroo exhibit at the Detroit Zoo, they're just hopping all over the place, right? And you're on a walking trail, so they can like come up to you.
And they fight, right?
They do
Yeah, they're
fight.
boxers.
This time they didn't choose to fight. We're walking on the trail. I'm there with my whole class. I'm there with like, it's actually 2 classes of 4th graders, so it's like 50 4th graders, right? They just start fucking. Just like right in the broad daylight, just start fucking. And I was like, what do you even do?
What'd you do?
I just like,
Did the kids notice?
I just started singing, it's the circle of life.
Did the kids notice?
Yes.
Were they like aware? Because I don't know. Because like
Gaspare.
in 5th grade, I thought a blowjob was a bird. So like,
Seriously?
yeah. Well, I don't know. Swallow. I don't know.
Literally,
I have no
this
idea.
kangaroo
I just
was just boom, 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 boom. They knew exactly. It was like laughter, screaming, pointing. all the boys were just like on the ground, couldn't control themselves. I'm just like,
Huh.
well, and like a week later, we had human growth and development.
Did you could have, really turned that into a teachable moment.
Yeah, like
And-
everybody watch.
Everybody watch. We're going to talk about this when we get back home.
We're going to talk about this later. Yeah, I did have to send a parent email home that was like, we did see kangaroo fuck. So
We saw a kangaroo orgy.
you're gonna get questions about that. All of a sudden, like a disco ball drops down. All the kangaroos are doing drugs. They're just fucking.
They're all dropping acid. No, I was
They make
there.
noise when they fuck.
Well, I would think most things do.
It was not a pleasant sound. It was like,
On the giver or the taker's end.
honestly, I don't know.
I guess you weren't as invested in watching.
The boys are they get very, whatever this is, aggressive.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Have you ever seen chickens have sex?
No. I guess I didn't really ever think about
Gaspare.
all the animals that have sex.
Please pause. I'm going to explain chicken sex to you. I used to volunteer at a farm to get NHS hours. I also lied to you. I wasn't smart enough.
What's NHS?
National Honor Society.
Clearly, I'm not smart enough either.
But you are a high school teacher. You think you would have known.
We have that.
Yeah, there's like one kid in it at your school.
Go ahead, continue.
So I'm volunteering at this farm. When chickens have sex, the male, it's violent. The male chicken stands on top of the female chicken's wings, spreads her wings out, bites her on the back of the neck, and then just drills dead ass.
Why is he bite her to hold?
I think so.
I guess it's hard because they don't have hands.
There's no,
So you got-
there's wings and feet.
This is just me reenacting. I'm trying to think what it would look like.
It's wild.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to share that.
What happened
story.
at the zoo?
No, well, one time I saw, but this was when the internet was in its early years. Remember when people used to send you videos and they were just like links
Yes.
and you'd click them and it would just lead to some dark web stuff?
Yes.
Okay. So back with like AOL Messenger, someone sent me this video and it was the process of how they artificially inseminate horses, right? And I clicked, I was watching it with my friends. We were just in a group and we were watching it.
Do they have to stick their arm up there?
No. So they had a tube. So they had a horse. I'm digging deep into my memory bank here. They had a horse, and the horse was against a fence, and then another horse was behind that horse, and they were doing their thing, horsey style. And while he was like getting ready to finish, the guy was waiting on the side, and then he grabbed the horse's penis and put it into a tube. There's a tube. I guess they were, putting it into the tube. And when he went to put it into the tube, it missed the tube, and the horse's penis was like, no. The horse's penis was like, I'm talking like my full arm length. It hit the guy in the face, and the guy's face went into the fence, and then the horse kept going because he was near the end, and the horse's head was concussing the guy, and the guy was just banging.
The horse's head or the horse's penis?
I mean, the horse's penis was concussing the guy because it just kept hitting him in the head, and the guy was trying to move out of the way, but he couldn't get out of the way. I'm pretty sure the guy's face broke, and then the horse was finished. But I didn't watch the whole. I don't remember the finish, but I remember watching. We were like, all around a computer as kids. Someone definitely downloaded that off like LimeWire.
Was it real?
Yeah, it was like Farmer Brown. He's in the middle of like wherever, and he's like, Farmer Brown can move, can you? Oh, and then he just kept getting railed by a horse penis into a fence.
Oh my
It was
God.
real, but this was like, remember like LimeWire? Do you remember Napster, LimeWire,
Kazaa, yeah, all that.
like all that stuff? Remember you'd like go to download like Britney Spears, Hit Me Baby One More Time,
And it was
then
like-
it was that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it was one of those. Like someone said to me, like, "Yo, look what I came across," and I opened it, and I'm like, "Oh my God!"
That is
Like,
so
but I remember watching
crazy.
it with a group of my friends, and we were like, we weren't turned on. I know you're gonna say some weird shit. We just watched it, and we were like, "What the fuck?"
Ayo, we're not going to stop with the emails. We love hearing from you. Share your crazy stories. It can be about anything. It can be about teaching. It can be about not teaching. We don't really care. Just
Life, kids.
life, kids, the pursuit of happiness, whatever that looks like for you. Send your crazy ass stories to the social studies podcast at gmail.com. That's the social studies podcast at gmail.com for your crazy wild ass stories. We'll read them on the pod. Should I just go for it?
Yeah, let's do something.
This one sounds good. It says random drug test.
You want me to read it?
You want to read it?
I mean, I can read.
Okay, can you?
Do you want me to try
Yeah,
to read?
you read this one, and Just leave out their name.
Well, it's very long.
There.
The last book I read was Holes. All right.
You want it bigger?
No, I can read it small.
Okay, let's see how he's doing. We're gonna assess this.
Dearest Joseph.
Oh God.
That's not what they said. Hey Joe, absolutely love the podcast. I recommend episodes. All right, here it is. I am a special education teacher.
Wait, I like to hear that part about how
Oh.
they love the podcast.
Absolutely love the podcast. Joe, you're amazing. You're the funniest person I've ever seen in my life.
Oh,
They didn't
okay.
say that. I recommend episodes to almost every teacher in my building. My story is from the first day of school last year. I am a special education teacher at an elementary building. It was the first day of school, so you would think that it would be a honeymoon phase, but a third grader decided to hit the ground running. By 9:30, school starts at 8. He has run out of the classroom 3 times, taken a bike from the bike rack that wasn't his and rode it around the school, used extremely colorful language to describe his teacher, and sprinted up and down the hallway screaming. By the time we
First
finally,
day.
first hour and a half,
Oh God.
by the time we finally caught up with him, he had shoved himself inside a locker. I was attempting to get him out, and he was using the same colorful language. I don't want to read.
You don't want to what?
No. I didn't want to read that next part because it kind of says something. As I was, no, it says.
I'll read it later. I'll read it later.
Yeah, no, it just says something that could kind of give it away. I don't know if they want that.
Good.
As I was attempting to get the student out of the locker, the director of HR rounded the corner just as the student screamed, "Get away from me, crackhead." There was a random drug test performed the next week.
On her or him?
I'm assuming on her. Because he called her a crackhead, she got randomly drug tested.
Oh God,
That's like
amazing.
in football. We'll get to that email in 1 second. But in football, like this player posted, like been hitting the gym lately, looking shredded on Twitter, and the next day, and he posted a picture, and the next day he was randomly drug tested, and he's like, "Wow, I work out hard for 2 weeks and I get randomly drug tested."
Wow, who was it?
It was a punter. I don't know. You know what that means?
I do know what that means.
Oh.
That means you kick it.
Yeah,
Give me credit for that.
that was good.
Thank you.
I mean, the punter, you don't kick, but it's different.
Am I fitting into straight culture with that?
Yeah, you're doing it good. You're
Thank
not
you.
canceled on our cult.
Before we started recording today, Gaspare didn't know who Annie Lennox was. So we're just kind of like trying to immerse him into gay culture, and he's trying to teach me about straight culture.
Yeah, what's Annie Lennox?
Lennox, Sweet
Yeah.
Dreams.
Sweet Dreams.
I made it these. No, wait. No, I'm wrong.
No, she sings the You're Rich Man.
Sometimes I feel I've got to.
Yeah.
Wait, no,
I
I'm wrong
knew who
again.
it-
I'm wrong again.
I knew the
It is
song.
Sweet Dreams.
Yeah. I knew the song. I just didn't know her name was Anne Lennox.
Do you like this song? Gaspare Randazzo.
Also, I didn't know that this song had so much to do.
What? Who will get demonetized? For that long?
Just kidding. Now we're just gonna play this part of it.
Will I get demonetized for that? Will I get demonetized for what I just did? Edit it out. Okay.
Annie Lennox. No idea who she is.
Okay, listen.
All right, so let's talk about this email.
This is so I used to my very first year teaching. I taught at a school that actually it had very similar to yours. We were just a normal school, but we housed the like emotionally disturbed. I don't even know if that's the right thing to say. I'm trying. It's like the emotionally impaired.
Well, emotional disturbed is a classification.
Okay.
So that's okay.
That for the entire county. So
Okay.
not just the district that goes. And this is one of the biggest counties in Michigan, right? So this program is in my school. Well, part of the thing in this program, and I'm talking, and I'm not gonna try and sugarcoat this or whatever. We're talking like Hannibal Lecters, like there was
I like that.
there was a room where they had to go if like shit got out of control, and there were kids one time who would like go in there, get fully naked, and write in their own shit on the
Yeah.
walls, like wild.
Yeah, it's sad.
So part of the thing is they try to like mainstream these kids, which I'm all for, and if a kid like starts going higher in the program, they'll spend some time in general education, so they'll be mainstreamed into my program. Well, I'm the only man teacher in this whole building. Mind you, I'm 22 fucking years old, and I'm tall. I'm 6'3". So immediately they're like, we need
You're
to get
perfect for this.
they're
Yeah.
no, they're like, we need to get Joe the correct certifications so that if shit goes down, he can intervene. So I had to go through like all the training to how to like properly restrain a kid if needed, like how to intervene if there's an actual crisis, like where to take everything. And I'm the one getting certified. And I'm like, okay, like literally, I just got this job and you're only paying me like $30,000 a year. But sure. I don't think they realized how often I was going to get called. Gaspare, I would be like in the middle of teaching and it'd be like, Mr. Dombrowski, Santa Claus, or like the code, you know?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, okay, I got to go down there. I'm not shitting you. It was at least 4 times a week. Like I'm just like in the middle of science and someone would show up and be like, hey, they need you downstairs I'm like, okay. One time I got called down there because a kid ran away, straight up ran away. And they're like, go get him. Gaspare.
Okay.
He's running down the road, like not the parking lot, it's like a busy ass road. And I'm like chasing this guy.
So you ran?
Yes, sir. I didn't know what to fucking do.
No,
I'm
yeah.
22.
I was gonna say 22. They tell you
If
to
it
jump.
was now, I would have been like,
Call the cops.
great, he's off property. Like, this is not
Yeah.
for me.
How old was he?
He was probably 10.
Oh, all right.
So he's running.
Young still.
And I'm chasing him. While I'm chasing him, he is scooping up rocks, golf ball size, and just whipping them at me, and I'm like, and I'm literally running, and I'm like, are you fucking serious? And then,
But doesn't it get your adrenaline going?
So
Wasn't it
listen.
exciting?
we had this program called Playworks. Have you ever heard of Playworks? It's like they send like a coach to your school who does like games with them at recess and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've heard of something similar, but not.
Yeah. This guy was getting he was like intervening, trying to work with the kids, and he was starting to have to deal with some of this shit too. So they sent him out to work with us as well. I'm chasing this kid, and all of a sudden, he fucking slide tackles him, takes the kid out from his feet, but feet down. So I literally feet are on the ground, up, hits the ground, and I'm like, dude, this kid's done. And then he was like done. He was like out, and then like we had to figure it out and like relocate him and stuff like that. But I was like, honestly, if he didn't slide tackle him, 1, I probably would have had a golf ball in the forehead, and 2, what are you gonna fucking do?
But you know what's crazy is, so then what? Then what was the end result? He got like.
I don't know. I went back to teaching science or whatever.
Isn't it crazy? Like you could be teaching, you like go intervene, you chase someone down the street,
And then
you
they're
don't
just
even
like,
get
go back to your
you don't even
normal
get a
day.
coverage. It's like
I didn't even have a glass of water. I went back sweating, and it was summertime. It was like June, early June.
one time I broke up a fight. I was covered in blood. I got punched. They tried to hit me with a computer printer in the middle. It was fine though. And when I got back, I thought like I would get like, because it was my lunch period, and I jumped on the kid's back to restrain him, and we fell into a closet, and then he tried to hit me with the printer. It's fine, whatever. They filmed it. It was all over Snapchat. He narrated it. He was like, look at this little bitch Randazzo trying
Shut
to
up,
stop me.
seriously.
I was like, oh.
Okay, in that
so-
Disturbed program too,
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I also had a kid one time who was being what is it called? Like mainstreamed in my
yeah.
classroom. Well, he was doing great. So we got to the point where he didn't need somebody from the program in my classroom while he was there. And then one day, randomly, like all the kids are working quietly, he comes up to me and he's like, hey, Mr. D, I wrote a song. I was like, what in it? What is it? And he just looks at me. He goes, run from the zombies. Run, run, run. Run from the zombies. Run, run, run. I'm like, I'm creeped out. This is where I die.
Should have started running. He was the zombie.
It was
But yeah,
bad.
like you can like get involved in that. You ran down the block, and then it's just like, all right, guys, like we're gonna now look at rocks again, because like you have to just go right back to teaching. That was the same thing. Like I had blood on my shirt, and like I was like, all right, well today we're gonna look at the Spanish explorers who came to America, and like the kids like, are you okay? I'm like, no, I'm not. Like this was horrible. All right, so that lady was drug tested, which is It's just funny that they took the kids.
I've never been drug tested. I've been drug tested in education once, and ironically enough, it was to student teach. What a waste of money on the district's part.
So I don't think I've never been drug tested for that, but I got drug tested once. I used to. This is interesting.
To
Before,
teach?
No, never to teach. I don't think so.
What did you get drug tested for?
I got drug tested. So believe it or not, I used to work a really cool job at the airport. I was a de-icer. Do you know what that is?
No. Oh, for the planes.
When the airplanes pull up in the winter, I would go out and I would get in a bucket. It looked like like when Con Ed comes.
In college? This is in college?
Yeah, I was like 18, 19. Yeah, because I was working at Applebee's at the time.
This is scary. An 18-year-old are
And
the one who are de-icing the plane.
We would pull up and I would be in the bucket, like, when they fix telephone
And
poles.
you'd have to shoot that shit all
And
over
I
the
would
plane.
go up and we had 2 hoses. One was called type 1, one was called type 4. Type 1 shot burning hot water and type 2 shot this goo. Like it was like antifreeze almost.
Okay.
But it was like gooey. And so I would shoot the hot water and it would melt all the snow off the plane. And then I would shoot the goo and that would keep the plane from freezing again before it took off. And I would do this all winter. It was like the best job. If they knew snow was coming, I would show up. I would go. I would be in the bucket. I'd be waiting for the planes and then I'd pull up with my team. Boop, boop,
Blow
boop.
your load all over them. Then
Shoot
be
up
back.
at a plane and go back, but it was so cold. You'd be working in the middle of the night, and a lot of times if it was windy and you open the hose with the hot water, it would just spray right back at you. So you just open it and be like, fuck. And I had my headset on. I'd be screaming to the guy like, back up. It's too windy. Because the planes would be getting ready to take off. Their
Right.
jets. The thing would rock. It was fucking scary, actually.
That's crazy.
And I look back like I was 18. And
So when did they drug test you? To get that job?
to get
or
the job, because it was in the airport for FedEx I worked for. So it was the FedEx thing. So FedEx would drug test you, and then also you had to get and I remember at the first day, I was 18 at the orientation, the guy's like, all right, listen, everybody, before we start, we're going to drug test you guys. And he just looked at everybody, and just 3 guys just got up and walked out of the room.
No way. Seriously?
And then I think about it, like, if you knew you were going to test positive, why would you sit and waste your time
Why?
going through it? Like, I'm not going to sit through a training. And I was like, whew, thank God I don't do drugs. Like, I was like, that would have sucked. Because then I would have to go home and tell my parents, like,
Yeah.
oh, I decided I don't want the job anymore. Like,
When I worked at the zoo, they had a thing about. I think first of all, I think you had to get drug tested to start. I don't remember, but if you were a supervisor, which I was, that meant that you had the ability to drive golf carts around the zoo. But the catch was, if any damage happened on a golf cart for any reason, you had to go to an immediate drug test. It was like
so that's the same thing with the airport. If you hit a plane with your bucket, you got drug tested immediately on the spot.
immediately.
Yeah.
So the one I was always really paranoid about that, and we had like maybe a week of camp left, so I may have had a little fun and had to drive the golf cart like 2 or 3 days later. Like, I'm not high, right? But
Just 3 days of it.
well, Gaspare, I went to back the golf cart out of the parking zone and I forgot to unplug it, so I ripped the cord out of the cart.
Yeah.
Like the cord's plugged in and just hang in there, right? I'm like, "Oh shit." So I like freaked out and I was like, I have to be honest, like they're going to find out. And I'm just like slamming water. And eventually, I told them, they're like, okay, like we'll talk to you soon. Like an hour goes by and they're like, Joe, could you come over? And I was like, yeah. And I went into the office. They had their keys ready. They're like, we have to go take an immediate drug test. And I was like, oh my God. So I was like, oh God. And I was like, I can't. And they're like, why? And I go, I don't have time. I need to be back for a meeting. And they're like, you have to do this. And I was like, okay. And I went and I did it and I passed.
3 days after and it passed.
3 days after and I passed.
Remember, like when we were young, I remember like everyone with poppy seed bagels.
Mhm.
Was that a thing? Do you know about that?
Yeah,
But they
was it
said you had to
true?
like consume like 400 poppy
to,
seed
to have
bagels
opium in
to
your
like
system.
pop a positive on it. And then I remember like all the kids in the neighborhood, like whenever kids would start getting caught like doing drugs or whatever, and their parents wanted to drug test them, they'd be like pounding back like gallons of cranberry juice.
Yep.
I don't know if that was everywhere or that was
Yeah.
just in Brooklyn.
I don't know. Literally, like, I probably drank maybe like a gallon's worth of water within an hour, maybe more.
And it flushed it out.
It flushed it out. But
Maybe you were smoking oregano.
Here's the thing. Weed is also legal now. It wasn't at this point.
Yeah.
And in my head, like I knew I wasn't being irresponsible. I would have never gone to work high, let alone drive something high. I'm always super cautious about that, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just how I am. But the thing is too is it's like I knew I wasn't going to be high the next day, let alone 3 days later. So
What's the thing? Like, so a friend of mine, he for something for work, they said they had to give him an alcohol test, like a blood test that could tell if you have alcohol in your system.
Oh,
Which I didn't
really?
even know that was a thing.
Well,
And he said it would come up it could come up for 3 or 4 days after, something to that effect. And my friend was like, "Why does it matter what I do on a Saturday? You're gonna, alcohol test me on a Tuesday?" He's
Yeah.
like, "Why does that matter?" He's like,
Yeah.
"What? I'm not gonna be drunk still." He's like, "If I'm drunk at work, fine." But he's like, and it was a weird thing. I don't know why for a promotion,
yeah.
they had to give him like a blood alcohol test. I
Wild.
never heard of that.
I had no idea. Did you do online teaching at all?
Of course.
This is a great email then. Hey, so 2 years ago, pandemic, Zoom teaching, I taught middle school resource math. First problem, teaching middle school, hello.
And resource room.
During a check and connect time, I had one student come to the call. She had just gotten a hamster and was telling me all about it while sitting on her bed. Her cat entered the room and I asked how the cat liked the hamster. She said they were good friends. The cat jumped into the bed and was getting close to the hamster. Next thing I know, the girl says, "Oh no, there's blood everywhere." We're for sure getting flagged by PETA. Jumps up and leaves crying and screaming. I end the call. Follow up determined that the hamster had died on my Zoom call. Needless to say, that was the last time I ever saw that student. One of the very few times I was ever left completely speechless. That's horrifying.
So what? So, I'm just thinking because. So in middle school and elementary school, they turned the cameras on, right?
Yeah.
So you actually saw people. When I taught, because I teach high school, I still teach now, but I'm saying when I was teaching online, nobody turned their cameras on. So it would be 35 blank boxes. And then New York City made an announcement
That they didn't have to.
that no student has to, because we don't know their situations and we don't know their living situations. We don't know this, that, and you don't want kids to feel bad about them, and all that stuff. And I get it to a degree, absolutely, because they were like, some kids are in homeless shelters, some kids are, and I never looked at it that point of view. So when I heard that, I was like, there is value to that, because I was like, I wouldn't want to open it if my house was dilapidated, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So I got it, except it was 35 boxes just turned on, but they never spoke, interacted, or left. Every day, it would just be, they would go on, and then I would take attendance. I'd be like, how was everybody's day? All right, well, my day was good too. If yours was good, mine was good too. Thank you. And they would just be complete silence. So one day, I was curious if anyone was actually there. So I said, I'm going to do an experiment. I fake passed out. So I went in and I said to them, I go, hey guys, I know you're there, but no one talks. It's fine. I'm used to it. Silence, right? So I was like, I just don't feel too good today, but we're going to get through the lesson. Then I was like, I'm just, and I just fell off the side of my chair and I just got off the screen. Complete silence, nothing. Now I'm peeking up over the table, just looking. I wanted to see if a girl wrote, "You okay?" in the chat. You okay? The letter U, okay. No question mark, no period. So I don't even know if she was asking me if I was okay or telling me I was okay. But I was dead on the floor and none of them cared. So I'm laying there. I waited about a minute. Kids dropped off the call. They probably thought they came back after getting their snacks and they were like, "Oh, he's gone." They just left.
Boom.
So kids dropped off. So I popped up like freaking Jaws and I was like, none of you care. Why don't you guys care about me? And like a few of them actually wrote like LOL. And they're like, we knew you would be doing something stupid like this. And I'm like, you knew, but I told you I didn't feel good. I fake passed out and I almost died and none of you cared. So I was like, guys, I do this every day, 180 straight days. I've been putting on a show to a blank audience. So then they actually felt bad and two of them turned the cameras on at 35 and they were like, nah, you're right. We're sorry. And then they never turned it on again. But in that moment, I won their hearts.
You were playing a little bit of The Boy Who Cried Wolf with that. Because what if some shit? What if you had a myocardial
And that
infarction?
happened. That happened to someone.
Had a heart attack.
A woman had a heart attack, I think in England. She had a heart attack and died on the Zoom. She was a college professor. And but that's the kids were on, and they called like 911.
But now they're not going to do that for you
They weren't going to do it for me anyway.
because the boy will cry wolf.
That's all right. Well, whatever. And you know what the best part of online teaching was? My daughter was born the day COVID started.
Whoa.
So she was born, and then it was like they shut down America. So like I like to believe she shut a whole country down.
Get out of
So,
here.
So my students like watched her like from like a seed to a person, which is kind of cool. Not really the seed part, but they like watched her grow, which was nice. And but what was funny is like when she started learning how to crawl, she would get on the Roomba.
Yeah.
You know what the Roomba is,
Yeah,
right?
and just ride it.
She would hit the button and it would just take off. So I'd be like in the middle of teaching, I'm like, all right, guys, so then, Genghis Khan started. And then I was
Lucy's
like,
in the
oh
back.
shit, I gotta do this. And I would run over and I'd pull Lucy off and I'd hold her up like Simba. Well, which one goes up in the air? Simba?
Simba.
Simba. Yeah, I never saw Lion King. And I know the references.
Liar.
And I'm not lying about it. I saw 3 Disney movies. Mulan. Now, 3 Disney movies prior to having kids. Now I've seen a lot of them. I saw Mulan. I saw Hercules. All the historical ones. Because I showed
But not
them,
Lion King?
I showed them to my students. There was no historical value to it. I couldn't show it to my class.
Oh.
I only showed, because I show a lot of Disney movies to my classes. June's a long month. And if you know how to pause a movie right, you could show it for 3 straight weeks.
That is great.
An hour-and-a-half movie. You just start, pause. You say if you pause. Oh, look, guys, it's a lion. How many of us have ever been to the zoo? And they're like, just play the fucking movie.
Absolutely.
Then I hit
true.
play. A few seconds pass by. I'm like, oh, look, a stampede. Pause. I'm like, guys, did you know that one time I went and did a bull run? And then I tell them like stories. I did. I did a bull run in West Virginia.
Not even Spain?
No, it was called
This is too much. This is too much. We're going to say
it was called. It's quick. It was called the Il Festival Pomodoro. It was in Spain, in West Virginia or Virginia. West Virginia, and it was a tomato festival. But they also
West
had,
Virginia's trying to be Spain.
Yeah, and they also had bulls. So I ran with the bulls around a horse race track.
Where is this going?
And then afterwards, we jumped over the fence because we couldn't keep up with the bull. Bulls are fast. And I don't know if you knew that. And then afterwards, they put you in a pit, like a fenced-in pen, and there was just thousands of tomatoes. And we threw the tomatoes at each other. It was like a snowball fight with tomatoes. It was called Il Festival Pomodoro or something like that.
What a wonderful place to end. Hey, you guys, thanks for listening to the Social Studies Podcast. Gaspar and I are going to be here every week. Make sure that you subscribe, give us a 5-star review, leave a little nice, kind word on Apple Podcasts if you could.
Tell us if you've ever been to Il Festival Pomodoro. That might not be the name.
And we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.